They represent, each one of the four horsemen represent the first four seals or signatures or authorities that are on this marriage contract that we got introduced to back in chapter 5. And so we've covered the first three. What were the colors of the first three? First one was white. Second one was red. Third one, black. And so white we saw representing deception. Very good. And the red one represents war and Edom, right? Because in Psalms 83, we see the list of those that are going to fulfill this prophecy in here in Revelation. And who are they almost all descendants of? Esau, right? Which had a name change to Edom, which means red, because he decided to trade his inheritance for red soup. Smart guy. And then the black horse he's carrying this scale in his hand. And what does the black horse represent? Death, but famine, pestilence, plague, bad stuff. And we talked about the scale that he's holding in his hand, which is a very ancient biblical concept that shows up again and again and again. One of those times it shows up, I think it was last week, we talked about how it represented how God views each one of us and mankind. He puts us on a scale and he finds out whether you've been good or bad. And if you're bad, you're heavy, right? You're loaded down with sin. No, you're light. And who was the Old Testament example we talked about? Remember the guy's name? Belshazzar. Who was he? Nebuchadnezzar. Who was Nebuchadnezzar? The king of Babylon, right? This was about, Nebuchadnezzar ruled from about 610 BC through, I don't know when he died, somewhere mid 500s. Another guy, his son, and then his son, Belshazzar, took over right at the end of the Babylonian Empire. And it fell, does anybody know the date that it fell? 5, right? 38, right? So it collapsed. Who took over? Cyrus. Cyrus was the king. He was prophesied about in Jeremiah. And who was he the king over? The Medo-Persians, correct. So and all of this is prophesied about, interestingly enough, in the Bible. Cyrus took over after Belshazzar. We read about how the kingdom collapsed in one night, and that's exactly what we've discovered archaeologically. Babylon fell one night. They deviated the Euphrates River. The the Medo-Persians deviated the Euphrates River, and the Euphrates River went right through the walls of Babylon, and so it went right through the courtyard of the king, and then out the other side. So if you deviate the river, what happens? You have a really nice invasion tunnel. Right? And that's exactly, people woke up, it's recorded in history, people literally woke up the next day, they had no clue that they were now Medo-Persians, being controlled by the Medes and the Persians. Belshazzar was found, remember the hand writing on the wall? And we talked about it, how he was found to be not heavy. He was too light. How many of us think we might be a little too light? And I'm not looking for skinny people to raise their hand. How do we fix that? How do we become master and commanders of our life so we become heavy in God's kingdom?
Draw near.
What?
Draw near to God.
Draw near, learn,